Now I'm going to spend some time on this foot, which is Mr. M, but it's his right foot. Now we've already looked at the left foot, and there was such a lot of information that we got from the foot, and I would suggest that you go back and have a look at the videos for the left foot, because I think that it will help you maybe understand a little bit more when we start looking at this foot. It'll give you some background information, because I'm actually expecting to see very similar things inside this foot that we saw with the left foot. The main take-home message that I got from the left foot was that it looked like a laminitic foot. The lamina, which were the structures that hold the hoof wall to the inner foot, had literally just turned to mush, and I'm fully expecting to see a similar effect in this foot. Now I think you can get laminitis in one foot, but I think it's unusual. And so I would expect that this foot will also have laminitis as well, because I'm expecting that this horse, Mr. M, had a metabolic issue, equine metabolic syndrome, or he was bordering Cushing's. So I think this is going to be a whole body thing rather than just a one foot thing. But we'll be able to see if that's correct, and we'll be able to compare some of the photographs from the left foot with the one that we're looking at now, which is the right. Well, a very quick recap on this foot is that this was a shod foot, and he was shod in his later years. He's 26 years old, did lots of competing in his time, and he was shod because the owner, although she wanted him to be unshod for the winter to make him more comfortable, he was very, very sore, and she put the shoes back on in desperation to get him comfortable, but even that didn't work. And the reason he was eventually put to sleep was that he was very, very lame. He'd had a previous injury in his back legs, which he never seemed to come right from. And eventually one day he was just very uncoordinated. It was like he'd had a stroke. And that, together with his soreness in his whole body, the owner felt the best thing was to put him to sleep. This foot has a lot of rasp marks right the way up to this area here, and I think I can even see them going up to here. So there's been, it seems to me, as like a lot of wool has been rasped back. Now maybe it's because there was a big flare and that the farrier has tried to get the flare back, not sure. If we look at this view here, we can see quite nicely that the hoof wall is coming down quite straight, and then it's going off there. So it looks as though that amount of tissue in the hoof horn has been taken back. Now why would that be? I don't know. Maybe it was to increase breakover. I don't know. Maybe there was a big laminar wedge in here. I don't know. But we should be able to see. With the other foot that we looked at, we didn't really see a laminar wedge, meaning that the coffin bone had rotated away from the hoof wall, and then this yellow the yellow liquid comes in to actually fill up the hole, and that's the body's way of plugging holes and to try and keep the hoof wall attached to the inner foot. There was very little, a few little yellow bits here and there, but not a huge great wedge, which I sort of hoped I was going to see. Lots of people had said on the other foot that this was a chronic laminitic foot, and I didn't really see it, but now I'm looking at this one, I can see the lines they look like they are diverging. They're coming down here, and it does look like there's a bit of diverging going on at this point here. Now the lines do look like they're diverging a little, but maybe it's just wishful thinking. It does seem to be a little bit fatter at the back here between this one and this one, and when I follow it along, they seem to be much closer when we're coming to the front of the foot. Now look, a massive amount closer. It's not like there's lots of little tiny growth rings here and then big wide ones here, but there does seem to be some diverging going on here. Let's have a look at the other side. Unfortunately, it's really hard to see the rings because they've been rasped off, but there's quite a big ring around here. And when I spoke to the owner, I'd asked about this laminitic event, and she thought it was probably about 8 weeks previously. Now I don't know that this is 8 weeks worth of growth. It looks a little bit longer to me than that. Now there's quite a bit of breakage around the nail holes around here, and the thing is the farrier just had to literally get those shoes on. It wasn't his best job. He wasn't trying to do the best job he could. He was trying to make this horse comfortable, and the horse could hardly lift his feet up. So the farrier had quite a difficult job to get the shoes on, and so this could be a reflection on what we're seeing here. But I'll just quickly show you what this looked like with the shoe on. So looking at the bottom of this foot, to me this looks quite unusual because I'm not used to seeing shod feet. Most of the feet that I look at are normally barefoot, or they've been shod historically and then gone to bare. So this looks quite strange to me to see it so very, very flat through here. But I've learned that this needs to be flat in order to put a shoe on, and that's why the farriers flatten this off. So excuse me if I've made a mistake or that's not true, you need to let me know. Now the hoof wall around here is incredibly thin. I don't know if you can actually see how thin that is here, but we are talking about, gosh, it looks like a cigarette paper thickness around here. It's still very thin around here as well. Is that because the wall has been rasped back and it's just taken away mass from the wall? And then does that mean that this is why the nails are not holding, because there's hardly any wall left to hold them? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Looking at the heel purchase, which is this part here, the heels purchase seems to be quite big. I'm quite surprised how big it looks, but there seems to be a lot of, it looks like debris or maybe retained sole through here, which makes it look like a bigger platform, but it probably isn't. It's probably more sole around here. I thought wasn't too bad a frog. There doesn't seem to be much thrush damage on here. I know you might look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's a very thrushy frog. Well, actually it doesn't really stink very much of thrush, and I've looked at the other one quite carefully, and there didn't seem to be the smell or the destruction that I would expect with thrush. But this isn't the most healthy frog in the world. I can see that there's not enough frog tissue here. There's a bit of white line separation through here. Now I can see it's the white line because we've got the nail holes that are going right through that part here, but there's quite a bit of separation around here, and I want to have a look at that and see just how bad that is. And I also want to look at the lamina. I want to see just how deranged they are compared to the other foot. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sagittal section on this one, first of all, to see the orientation of the bony column, and to have a look at the digital cushion under here. And then what I can do is I can do sections like this, which are going to give me a good view, of horizontal view of this part of the tissue. And then this part, I want to have a look at this around here. So I need to have a think about that. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sagittal section of this, and then we can have a look at that first, and then we can start looking at some of the other things. Now at the front, there was a toe clip at the front, and the wall has been taken back quite a lot through here. I don't know whether that's normal or not, but there's not a lot of wall, and I can see the white line has opened up. I can see where the shoe was fitting. There's like a stain mark around here on the sole, on the periphery around here. Now, I also think that this sole has been cleaned up, almost as if it's been knifed up to clean it up, to flatten it off, maybe to get the shoe on. I'm not sure, but this part here is exfoliating quite a bit. This looks like some knife marks going up through here, and also through here as well. It looks like it's been cleaned up. So let me go and do the sagittal section through the middle, and then we can have a look and see what this hoof is telling us.